Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire, while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today's guest, this is going to be a great one. We're all going to go win after this. J.M. Ryerson, he is the co-founder and the CEO of Let's Go Win. Their mission is to increase leadership, enhance culture, and help teams achieve peak performance. Also has Transcend in Life podcast that you're going to have to watch or actually listen to, more or less, From Fear to Freedom. J.M. Ryerson, it's great to have you on today.
Brother, truly my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have the conversation with you today.
Oh, this is great. Now, you're raising two boys, and, one of the greatest accomplishments that you said was, raising your two boys and writing the book, Let's Go Win. Tell me more about that, the being a parent and at the same time being able to help other people find their best life. How did you get into that realm?
That's a good question, man. And my boys are my inspiration. The one thing I wanted to be as a kid was I wanted to be a dad. Yes, my mom and dad, and that's what I always said. I always wanted to be a dad. So I wrote the book, Let's Go Win, as literally for those two boys because I wanted them to skin their knees maybe a little bit less and make a few less mistakes than I did. And so I started the process, and about 3 years in, I had my goals on my bathroom mirror, and my youngest boy, he was 8 at the time, said, "Hey, Dad, how's the book going?" And I had to sheepishly look at him and just say, "Not great, bud. I got about chapter 1 done after 3 years." And that day I committed to finishing it. I was inspired and crushed all at the same time by an 8-year-old asking a question.
I love it.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And that's my little accountability buddy. But so went down the path, started writing the book. And a gal that I was working with at the time said, "If you only share this book with 2 people, you're selfish." And I said, wow, I never thought of it that way. And so that day we decided to share it with the world and hopefully people get some value from it. So that's what it was all for, was for them that was the initial intent. But what's been beautiful is the amount of people that have said, "Hey, that thing in chapter 2, that was amazing." And that always makes you feel good that whatever you put out to the world, people are getting some value from it.
I absolutely love that. You go to letsgowin.com and get that book. Now, you were talking about, you wrote some your goals on a mirror. I love this. But like you were saying, it took your 8-year-old to tell you, are you following those on the mirror? How does that transform because I think a lot of people make those goals. I've done that before. How do you transform if you don't have an 8-year-old to tell you that you're not doing what you're supposed to? How do you transform those goals that are set into action?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. And I think something we all struggle with is we will let ourselves down way before we'll let anyone else down. And so the simple fact was, look, I was not leading by example. I was accomplishing a lot of those goals, but this one particular, I was not. And so one of the things that's real important is having those accountability buddies or partners, or, it's like lifting weight in the gym. You're capable of so much more, and people can see that in you far more than you can in yourself. So giving permission, in this case, it's my family. I let them know, here's my goals. Please hold me accountable to these because I want to show up as the best version of myself in being a parent and being a husband and being, professionally. And so having that, giving permission to them has always allowed them to say, you know what, you said you're going to do this and you're not. And it sucks to hear, but that's what we're all looking for, is somebody to hold us accountable and really let us shine in the way they see us far more than maybe the way we see it in the mirror.
Oh, it's so true. And you have on your site, you have some great articles that are written on letsgowin.com. And the one that stuck out to me, it kind of aligns exactly with what we're talking about right now, but you have it under culture, but it almost seems like it's a great one for everybody. It's 3 ways to make good choices. And you have self-awareness, be intentional, and keep perspective. Talk to me a little bit more about that how that associated with your journey to be where you are right now.
Yeah, specific to the blog, that is something that's just therapeutic, and those are the ideas that I think that maybe people can get something from. But specific to keep perspective, if you go to that particular section, I
Yeah.
actually right next to my goals, I have my 7 daily reminders, and one of those reminders says keep perspective. And in apostrophes is the name Dick Fong. Well, Dick Fong is my brother-in-law who unfortunately passed away in his mid-40s, had 3 girls. And so whenever I'm having that thing that's bothering, a flat tire or whatever first world problem, I always think back to Dick to say, gosh, how lucky he would be to have a flat tire right now. How much would he love to, whatever problem that we're facing right now, he's not here to get the chance to do that. So keeping perspective, unfortunately, so often we don't keep perspective until something really negative happens. And so the idea is to remind myself daily that, you know what, whatever challenge we're going through, that's exactly what it is. In fact, we should embrace that challenge and say thank you, because I'm alive to do that. Dick, if I could ask him right now, I imagine he'd say, I wish I was there right now to deal with, facing a mortgage or whatever challenge it is. And so that's always helped me because, look, we all want to be victims at some time and say, oh, woe is me. But the truth is, it's really just not that big a deal. We're all blessed to live in this amazing country. Are there challenges? Yes, there are. But I'll tell you what, I am happy to face those challenges every single day, and I feel blessed to do so.
I love that because you can really feel your power and the leadership that you have to be able to provide this opportunity for other people to transcend their lives, like you've said. Now, I want to kind of shift it to the perspective of peak performance. I think the word itself scares people. Like the common person is like, oh my God, peak performance. I'm not sure if I could do that. But tell me more about what that means in somebody's life when they're working towards peak performance, because it is something that is capable for everybody.
Yeah, so often, brother, I think people choose to, whether it's self-sabotage or give themselves that back door or that side gate to go out of, because if you don't put yourself fully out there, you always have that, I didn't give it my all, or whatever excuse you're looking for to say, yeah, I didn't accomplish it, but look, I didn't give it 100%. Instead, why don't you just put yourself out there? Again, as much as I didn't want my boys to skin their knees, I want them to put themselves, be 100% vulnerable, give it all they have, and know that they're going to fail. Because when you fail, in my opinion, you're really winning. And I know that sounds so cliche. And
that is awesome.
I had a guy one time say, look, the only time I fail is if I don't learn. And I thought that was so profound to just hear the way he said that. And so, there's a saying called play full out, and that's giving everything you have to this. And just know, look, don't give yourself that out. Say, I'm going to give it everything I have. And if it doesn't work out, I can get up and choose to go at it again the next day. That's what I think people don't realize is we make choices every single day. You can get up and choose to be your best version, or you can wake up and choose not to be. But you have the ultimate power. No one can make you feel a certain way but yourself. So hopefully you're choosing to give it 100%, because that's what the world really wants to see. That's what your family members want to see, your business partners want to see. They want you to be 100% you and not just some masked version of that.
I love what you said there because it's so true because especially with my kids, my son plays hockey and having him understand that concept of every single moment that you get the opportunity, like you were saying, the choice to be able to play all out, you should. Have you noticed that as you're raising two boys, that a lot of what you're helping them to understand, you're also having to teach to adults now again in their later years?
Oh, I'm having to teach myself, brother. I mean, we are all, the challenge we all have is we are given a lot of hard wires and beliefs. Some of those are positive, some of those are not so positive. And so I am dealing with challenges just like anybody that my parents are amazing, but guess what? They gave me some of their baggage too, not
Right.
meaning to, right? They were trying to give, they are nothing but love, nothing but amazing human beings. But guess what? They didn't know this world continues to evolve and change. So we have so many of these self-limiting beliefs that I can't do this or it's not practical for me to do that. Like you and doing the triathlons. I imagine many people said you couldn't, but you decided,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what? Oh, and maybe that was motivation for you to say, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway,
Right.
and just to prove them wrong. Or you just decided, you know what, maybe I can't do it, but I'm going to give my 100% of that effort. And so it's a scary concept for some people to say, but if I put myself out there, I'm completely vulnerable. If people see me fail, and if we could just change that and say, yes, if people could see you fail and give them a high five. So often people are worried that, gosh, if I fail, I'm not winning. And that's the funny thing about the name, Let's Go Win. I'm not talking about wins and losses on a chalkboard. I'm literally talking about your mindset, getting up to win the day, getting up and showing up as the best version of yourself. That's why I want people to let's go win is give everything they have to whatever present moment they're in. So in your son's example in hockey, son, go give everything you have on the ice today. And then you can look back and say, you know what? Win, lose, or draw, I won today because I gave it everything I got. If we can get people to do that, it's amazing the amount of things we can accomplish in this world.
Oh, that's yeah. I'm gonna make my son listen to this one. This is this is awesome information because now I go back to your articles because your articles are super complimentary to what you're talking about. When somebody goes to letsgowin.com and buy your book, they can look at these articles and find out more information because I love the one about mindset about your inner dialogue is a jerk. I I saw that title. I was like, yep, I want to read that one. But I love how you break it down into is this real? Write it down and find an outlet. That correlates perfectly to just what we were talking about. Is it real that I'm tired? Is it real that I don't want to go? How does this internal dialogue relate to that peak performance?
Yeah, so often our inner dialogue is telling us the negative things like, "Oh, I can't," or "I'm not supposed to," or "I'm tired," or whatever. And so it's really not that you're not capable of. It's a battle of will. Unfortunately, not all of us have the strongest willpower, myself included. And so some of the ideas, like I was talking on another podcast, David Goggins talks about reaching into the cookie jar to get another cookie of willpower, another cookie of energy. And it's just allowing yourself to push through that sometimes that inner dialogue, it's just not kind to you. It's not saying, "Hey, Fireman Rob, you're the best guy in the world." It's saying, "Hey, Fireman Rob, you're really tired, bro. You don't want to go on." And
Never had that happen.
but I imagine you have that, your why is so strong that you say, look,
Yes.
I'm not going to listen to the inner Fireman Rob dialogue. You know what? Screw you, inner dialogue. I am going to do it because I want to show the world what's capable. I want to support
Right.
my cause. It's far greater than the pain that I'm feeling or whatever is coming up. There's everything is on that we want is on the other side of fear. It's one of my favorite quotes. And if
I
you
love
think about that, we're fearful to fail. We're fearful to be in pain. We're fearful for whatever thing that we're fearful of. Fear is not real. I understand it's a real concept, but the acronym is false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's in the
I
future.
love
It's
that.
something that we think might happen, but the truth is we're creating it in our mind. And that's what's amazing about our minds. They're so beautifully creative, yet they're also beautifully destructive. And I don't mean that in a positive. They could be so destructive and so self-limiting. So it's really figuring out how can we overcome those self-limiting beliefs. And for some of us, we're intrinsically motivated to do it. Some of us, we need that why. Some of us, we're going to do it just to show mom and dad, I can do this. I don't really care, but not limiting yourself and that inner dialogue to win, overcoming that daily. I think so many things can be accomplished.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. When you talk about the limited beliefs, and this is actually an interesting, I'm not sure where the study was that I read, but it was talking about like what you were talking about with people having that fear. But this was almost an opposite side of people having the fear of being overly successful that they couldn't sustain it. What would you say to those people? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that have that drive, that have that motivation, but they're scared of too much success because they're not sure that they can sustain that for the long term.
Yeah, and I have a saying for this, and this is a controversial one in my world because people get really upset when I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I
Past
like
is
it.
pain. So past is pain, future is anxiety, present is everything. I don't mean that everything in my past is painful. I have so many amazing memories from playing sports growing up in college, all these things that I love doing. But guess what? If I'm looking back at how amazing my life was back then, if that's
Right.
my pattern, how crappy is my life? What I'm telling myself, how crappy today is. Or if I'm thinking about how amazing the future is going to be, what am I saying about what today is? When the facts are, when you're present, when you're giving everything to this present moment, you're creating that amazing future to begin with. And to
Right.
your initial point, the people being scared of success, it's a real thing. It's called self-sabotage. It's one of my, I try not to say the word hate, but I
Right.
hate self-sabotage.
I
I
agree.
hate self-limiting beliefs because you're like, look, man, why not give it all you have? And an example of that was my relationship with money was not great in my younger years because some of the hard wires from my dad. My
Right.
dad, he would say, hey, there go the pretty people at the country club or driving this car. So my relationship with money was very negative. I thought, oh, if you make a lot of money, that means you're the pretty people. Well,
Uh,
in hindsight, and I've talked to my dad, we've been very open about this. That was just what his dad said. So that just translated down. So when I started making a bunch of money, I thought, oh, this isn't good. And I could have gone down that self sabotage, or I can do something with that money. I can give it to charity. I can create another company. I can do something good for this world. So the idea is very real. Self sabotage, unfortunately, is a real thing. But that journaling piece that you mentioned earlier, it's the best free therapy that people have available to them. Take a pen, a piece of paper, and just write. Write down your thoughts, your fears, your dreams, because it is unbiased. That's why you get a therapist, to have an unbiased opinion. That
right.
paper has no biases. It is not saying, hey, Fireman Rob's a great guy, or Fireman Rob is a bad guy. It's saying, this dude's writing pen on my paper. That's it.
Yeah.
And so if you can take those self-sabotage thoughts and say, is it real? Will it inspire if I do this? What is it going to do for the world? And if you can do that, if you can answer a couple simple questions, hopefully you can defeat those self-limiting beliefs or the self-sabotage.
So many great pieces of wisdom you're giving us. I want to also talk about your podcasts. So you have Transcendent Life podcast, From Fear to Freedom, and you talk about the peak performance. Tell me a little bit more about your guests on there, or what people can expect when they go and listen to your podcast.
Yeah, what I love about the podcast is I do not choose a niche to say I'm going to only have athletes on, or I'm only going to have executives on, or I like to talk to interesting human beings that are making the world a better place because
I love
it's
that.
yeah, man, you don't have to have 10 million Instagram subscribers or followers to be doing something good in the world. You could be, my mom was a teacher for 39 years. She influenced so many human beings to be better versions of themselves. That is stories I love to share because, look, whether you're famous or you're poor or you're rich, it doesn't matter. We are all human beings and we are all living this world trying to do our very best, or at least that's the hope. And we all have fears. That is the one common thing that every one of us, we have fears. It's literally, we talk about hardwires in science. Our brains literally, we have fears. That's science goes into it. You can do lots of boring research on it and what fears really are.
Right.
But we all have them. And so I like sharing stories of people saying, look, here was my fear and here's how I overcome it. Because instead of it being a preachy thing, I want their story to come through. So somebody might say, well, wait a minute, just like you, Fireman Rob. How many firemen have said, Rob, you inspired me to be better? Or other municipal workers or other professionals that said, you 100% inspired me. That's what my hope is with Transcend in Life, that they see somebody that did something unique or just did something in everyday life, but you can get something from it.
That's exactly right up the alley of what I love talking about, and I love with your podcast. Make sure you guys go to it, Transcend in Life podcast. Be able to find those real people, the people that every single day are working towards being a best self or inspiring people on a level that they don't even know sometimes that they're inspiring people. I want to transition here to your logo because I absolutely love what you did with the Let's Go Win logo. There's 3 little pieces, and you're going to have to go to letsgowin.com to be able to see what I'm talking about. But you have 3 pieces that fit together, and it's courage, fun, and transcend. Tell me why those 3 fit together for that Let's Go Win logo.
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I talk about journaling frequently. What's interesting, side note for just a quick second, I didn't realize back when I was 21, I believe I was 20 or 21, I had literally put Let's Go Win and created this logo. Forgot about it, was in my memento box, right, that we all have.
Yep.
And so after I did the logo several years ago, I was cleaning out the garage and came upon this journal. And I'm like, holy cow, I've been marinating on this idea for 20 some odd years. So, which I'm sure we've all had that moment, right? Where you said,
yep,
oh, that would be a great idea. Well, I actually did write it down. I just didn't go back and look at it, but it had been marinating in there. The point with courage, fun, and transcend is this. Courage is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it. And everything, like I said, is on the other side of fear. So if you can just be courageous for that one moment, guess what? You can be courageous again that much easier the next time. And it becomes this domino effect where if you can practice courage daily, it's going to allow you to really come to fruition or fulfill whatever destiny you're looking for. The fun part is very simple. In fact, every company I've ever had, Rob, I have fun in it because we're only on this earth 30, 40, 60, 100 years, let's say. It's not that long. No. So why wouldn't we have a great time while we're here? I don't understand being bored or understand not giving it your very best or having a great day. Have I had crappy days? Absolutely I have. But I'll tell you what, I remind myself, hey, it's not that serious. Let's go have some fun. And then ultimately transcend is what we've been talking about. Most people don't even know what that word means. But the translation for me is literally overcoming self-limiting beliefs. That's what my mission, I believe, in this world is. I think some of the ways I can hopefully do that is simplify things for people and say, look, you can overcome this self-limiting belief that you didn't even give yourself, right? This was given to you before you ever had a conscious decision that you could make or even a long-term memory, but you can overcome it. And so that's where the 3 came together because I want people to be courageous. I want them to have fun and I want them to overcome self-limiting beliefs. And if I can be a small part of that, what a fulfilling life it truly is and will continue to be.
Right. You hit it right on the head. JM, it has been an honor to be able to talk with you today. You need to go to letsgowin.com to be able to get your book and to be able to go to Transcend in Life podcast to be able to hear more from JM. I know that people are going to want to hear more from you. I always end my podcast the same way. I have 3 different questions that I'm going to ask you. It's exciting because we get so many different perspectives from so many different walks of life to be able to help people to be able to live their best lives. So are you ready for question 1?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Now, what would you be a big suggestion or your one big advice piece that you would tell your 18-year-old self?
Oh, wow. Wow, that is really good. Man, I have so many ways to go with this. I wish I had started meditating earlier, so I probably would have said, look, this is going to come in and out of your life many times, but when you are able to quiet your mind and really sit with those thoughts that are scary, that big, audacious, hairy goal, sit with it. And I started meditating, I think I was about 20 or 21. Journaling and meditation kind of came early in life for me, but I fell out of favor with it because I don't know why. Honestly, when I needed answers, I would sit. Some people call it prayer. Some people call it meditation. Some people go on a hike. It doesn't matter. But I wish I was more intentional. As an 18-year-old, I think so many more things would have been clear. I think I would have been more intentional to achieve some things earlier. But that's what I would tell myself is, man, take this seriously. It's really powerful. It's something that you can apply and use every single day, and you'll get so much from it.
That is so powerful to be able to do that when you're younger. And when we're younger, we're just thinking of so many different things that have no basis on what our future looks like. So that's a great advice to give to your 18-year-old self. All right, here's the second one. With everybody that's going through a lot of different challenges and turmoil, you have a lot of people that are just struggling right now. What would you say would be 2 daily habits? It can be in the morning or in the evening that they should incorporate into their life to start living forward.
Yeah, I love this question. It would be the 2 things are very, very simple. It's set a daily affirmation. So my boys, since they were both, my son didn't talk till my first boy, TJ, didn't talk till he was almost 3. So I was the one saying it. And then my younger boy started at 10 months, but they say the same thing every single night, their daily affirmation. I ask them, are you a leader? And until they say yes, we're going to sit there. And so, yes, Dad, I am. How come? I'm confident, strong, intelligent, athletic, good-looking, dynamic, popular, talented, independent boy with a growth mindset. They've said that every single day. Now, I would also tell myself, shorten it a little bit so it's not that long-winded thing. But you know what? They won't go to bed. In fact, last night I was tired and they said, Dad, are you getting up? Are you putting us to bed? My 14-year-old, which is really cool to see. So I would tell people to get a daily affirmation. I'm confident, I'm strong, I'm intelligent, just to help hardwire yourself to know that you are those things, because the world's going to try and knock you down until you're not those things. So whatever you're struggling with, come up with that daily affirmation and say it daily. And the other thing I would do, I would set my intention daily. And that is so simple, but it has been one of the most profound things I've learned is I'm going to give everything I have today, or I'm going to be fully present today, or I'm going to be a bundle of love today. Whatever your intention is, I'm going to go kick butt at work. I don't care what the intention is, but if you set it, you're that much more likely to achieve it. So those are the 2 habits that I would tell people to do every single morning.
Oh, man. All right. I wrote them down for myself. All right. Here's the last question. This is always a fun one. So if you could have coffee with 3 people that can be deceased or alive at a firehouse table, in other words, it's saying that nothing is off the table. You can ask any question and it'll be answered. Who would those 3 people be and why?
Well, Nelson Mandela would be the first, just because I look up to him. He's just arguably the most incredible leader I've ever studied. I have so many questions for him. Oh man, it's so hard to choose the last two because I want so many. My grandfather, I want to ask both of them. They
Yeah,
both shaped my life. So I'm cheating here. It would be
you're fine.
both my grandpa. In fact, it would be probably. I'm fortunate. One of my grandmothers is still with us today. She's incredible. So I
Oh,
do get to
wow.
ask her questions. So I guess it would be my grandpa Pete because he allegedly I remind so many people of him, and I want to know. I want to know his story. You know what? Going back to my 18-year-old self, I would say learn more about those people that are so
Oh, that's
incredible.
huge. Yep.
I wish I had done that more. And I was a pretty inquisitive child, but I wish I had asked them more. And I actually have my other grandfather's memoir sitting right next to me that I have not chosen to read, and you just inspired me to do that now.
Love it.
And then, gosh, lastly, it would be an athlete, and it would be Muhammad Ali.
That's a good
This
one.
is someone that he said what he was going to do, but then
Hmm.
he was audacious enough to back it up.
Yeah.
And it came across as braggadocious at times, and I know he definitely offended some people, but I just think he was remarkable in the fact that he was so vulnerable. He put himself out there. He stood for what he believed in, especially in the face at times that it wasn't popular. The civil rights movement, it was really in. He went through so much, and I thought it was remarkable how much he accomplished. So I guess he would be my third gun to my head. So
I love that table. I'll pour the coffee and listen. Um, well, JM, it has been an honor to have you on the show today. Make sure if you're listening, go to letsgowin.com to find out more, to get your book, to find out more about the Transcend in Life podcast. JM, thanks again for being on.
Rob, truly, it is my pleasure. I had a great time. You've done such a good job telling them to go to Let's Go Win. There is a free assessment on there. It's a free work-life balance assessment. I take it monthly. Hopefully you can get something free and you can get something from it. So thank you so much for having me, brother. I really did enjoy it.
I appreciate it. And thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.